Let's get going. All right, so let's come into our seated position and make sure you feel supported underneath you, but also to the legs if you need some support. And then just spend a little time adjusting yourself so that you have alignment in your body, you have support as needed, you have space in the trunk. Take a moment to put your shoulders in line with your hips and put your skull in line with your spine. And then attempting to keep your shoulders back, bring your hands together in front of your heart and close your eyes, looking away from your brain. And just kind of bringing attention into the entire space of the body, attention to your breath. Taking a few moments to arrive into your body and onto your mat. We're preparing for a restorative practice today, which is really largely about sustained presence. Just beginning this act of giving attention. Maybe here inviting an intention into your heart, something to form your practice around, something to devote your attention to. Maintain the upright sensation of the spine, maintain the lift of the chest, and bow your head toward your heart. And as you're ready, let your head lift, let your hands release down, let your eyes open, and welcome. Right, so we're going to start the practice with child's pose. And there's a few ways to make this pose more sustainable, more quieting, more supported. So I'll show you what those modifications are. One way, some of us have knee issues, and one way to make the pose a little bit more comfortable is to put a blanket, a folded blanket from the backs of your knees over your calf muscles, and then sit back that way. It gives the knees some support if that deep flexion is uncomfortable. But another way we can bring support to this pose is putting a bolster or a blanket, rolled blanket here in front of the trunk and resting there. And then there's one more that I wanted to remind you of, which is if you don't see that your butt meet your feet, you could also take one of your soft props and place that between your buttocks and your feet so that you can really get a sense of being able to sit back and anchor into the back half of the pose. So finding your child's pose, we'll be here a couple minutes. And you're going to place your arms out in front of you. And if that's uncomfortable, feel free to prop your hands on blocks or cross your arms, and you can always rest your head on your arms. So this is the third part of my three-part series called Be Here Now. The series has been called These Are the Times We Practice For. And this practice is really about being able to show up fully in the moment. In times of stress, the mind tends to wander. And these COVID times have been stressful for all, but they've also been boring. for a lot of us. And either place in the mind will wander. So when we're bored, when we're stressed, the mind will wander. And so the poses are giving us a chance to be present to each moment in real time, training the mind back into presence. And the poses are also built to be passive. So you don't have to be effortful. You can be in a surrendered state. And just observe how the shape of the pose and the breath bring sensation. And how the experience evolves over time. The initial reaction to the pose is now hopefully subsided and there's more nuance. Maybe the muscles are starting to relax a little bit into the shape that you're in. There's less of a fight. The mind begins to settle. Just another minute here. A lot of times our own suffering is not about what's going on, but our position, our stance, the stance we take toward what is going on. So softening into the pose, softening into the circumstances that are present. Letting go of those resistances. There are 3 portals to presence. This is Eckhart Tolle. Breath attention, attention to sensation, and then the last one, radical acceptance. Letting go of the kind of pushing back against life or what is currently true. So we're going to be exhaling one last deep breath here. And then you're going to find your way gently, slowly. Make sure as you transition between poses, you're just kind of staying with your presence. You're not jarring the mind. So just become very present as you transition onto your stomach. Separate your legs almost to the edges of the mat so you have nice wide space between your feet, but then try to align your legs so you're centered up on your thighs, you're resting on the kneecaps and on all 10 toes. And then you're going to grab your elbows here with your hand, just kind of create a stabilizing position. Your elbows are in line with your shoulders. Your forearms are kind of crossed in front of your chest, and you're grabbing the elbows and just holding your arms together. And then try to position your head so that there's not a crease in the back of the neck. You might be kind of looking down and slightly out. And put enough weight into your arms that you're not sinking into your shoulder girdle, that you're maintaining some length to your neck. And it might be nice to close your eyes, because sometimes the eyes keep us kind of reaching out into the world rather than turning in toward ourselves. So if you need to close your eyes to be more present, do that. And if closing your eyes takes you out of present experience, then keep them gently open. And without a lot of exertion, just find a way to quiet your low back by just kind of tipping your pelvis slightly Think about drawing the flesh of the buttocks away from the upper back. And rather than resisting the contact of your stomach pushing against the floor as you breathe in, embrace it and maybe sense that it's allowing your spine to open in a different way. Relaxing the forehead and the cheeks, the jaw. Make sure your butt is tension-free. Invite your small toes to keep turning back toward the floor if they're kind of curling away from the floor. And as your breath kind of presses up into the rib cage, imagine expanding out in a horizontal way. Now we're going to transition into a half frog position. And so you can kind of support yourself coming down a little bit. You can uncross your forearms. And you'll probably want to find a prop to put off to the side. We'll take the right leg out first. You're going to bend the knee and invite the knee toward the shoulder line. For some of us, it's not going to come that close. You might have more of an obtuse angle at the hip. For some, we'll have a 90-degree angle at the hip. For some, we'll have a more acute angle at the hip. So really just be with where you are. There's no other way. And then for some, you're going to need to prop the knee a little bit to get more of a sensation of opening. So I have my knee off to the side, as close to my shoulders as I can make it. And mine is elevated, but you decide for yourself if you need elevation or not. And we're going to be resting on the forearms and putting the elbows in line with the shoulders. And so the practice really today is studying our own resistances to positions that we end up in life and on our mats. Of course, if it's overbuilt, if you built the pose too much, you might have to modify and kind of acquiesce into some of those resistances that are there for a reason. You don't want to get injured. But also spending more time in the pose, you can kind of study that journey from the initial kind of resisting against, and then a softening starts to develop. And when we're squeezing against or tensing against, there's the suffering. When we start to soften, we can relax into the shape, into the isness of our lives. And the forearms are kind of there to help you bring some weight over to the half frog side. You might sense that you're leaning to your not half frog side. So bringing some weight, gently shifting the weight of the forearms to just kind of lean in. Lean into that stretch, that pose, that shape. And again, always pay attention to how your neck is positioned, and if you're kind of holding tension in the face to offset tension other places in the body, just kind of soften the face, the jaw, the brow line, the neck. And the groins are a big piece of feeling inhibited in the breath. If the groins are tight, the breath isn't as full or as free or as satisfying. So addressing a lot of tension in the groins in restorative practice is common. This pose is helping us do that. And we'll just spend another couple breaths on this side before we transition. Always coming out of your pose with as much care as you come in. Don't assume you're just going to spring out of the pose. The pose changes you, so gently shift your weight to the non-elevated or frog side so that you can adjust the leg down if it was elevated and straight back behind you. And you're going to set up second side. For me, I'm going to turn around so you can see my side, but you can stay as you are on your mat and just elevate or prop the other leg. I'm going to turn around so I have my frog leg facing you guys. And you might have different needs on the new side, so just always taking fresh notes in your body, not assuming the previous experience is going to be this experience. You're going to take that knee toward the shoulder line, the knee is bent and maybe elevated so that you have enough sensation to keep the mind occupied. It's really the litmus test, is if the brain is satisfied, then you have a better chance of staying present. Remember, stress and boredom are the reasons we escape. Don't make the pose stressful or boring. Find that sweet spot. And then you can use your forearms to help you equalize the weight across the hips. And to kind of lean into that experience as needed. Neutralize the neck, soften the gaze. That might mean eyes are closed. It might mean eyes are open but soft. I don't know, some of you know I've started a wishing tree in my neighborhood. It was in the Madison magazine recently. There's a tree that you tie your wishes on. And for a while now, I've had the same wish to be in better alignment with time. And that's for me what this practice is really about, is being able to be more familiar with the state of presence so that my neural pathways know that experience better, and therefore I'm more likely to be present. But if you have a mindfulness practice, you probably become very aware of how the mind vacillates and time travels. And really there's such a sweetness and a peace that comes when you're able to just be more fully present. Let's just take a couple more breaths here. And then again, just be very careful and slow as you deconstruct your pose and extend the leg back behind you. And we've been in a slight back bend for a long period of time now. So cross your arms and rest your cheek, either cheek, and then bend your knees and just let your legs sweep from side to side slowly, just to kind of release your back and your pelvis and your hips. And you can find your way somehow onto your back. So we're going to come into a twist. So take a moment to, with your feet grounded, lengthen your buttocks away from your shoulders. So lift your hips, roll the buttock flesh away from your shoulders, place your back. So, and another way to say this is we're just kind of closing that gap between your lower back and the floor. And then you're going to stretch your arms out to each side so they're perpendicular from your torso. And then crossing your left leg over your right leg. Shifting your hips so that your right hip tucks under your left. So you're going to kind of slide your hips to the left, put the right hip down and let the legs gently fall to the right. Take your hand onto your top leg, either your knee or your thigh, it doesn't matter. Just giving your legs some support to remain where you've brought them. And they might still shift a little bit. So if that occurs, allow the legs to shift. We don't want to resist that natural settling in the body. And then you'll finish your twist by letting your head start to turn away from the right side toward the left. If the arm is still stretched out to the left, you're going to feel a nice opening across the chest, even into the arm. But if it's really uncomfortable, just drape your left hand over your side waist and unfold the arm as you're ready to. The spine is equally supple and stabilizing, so it takes a little time here for the suppleness to come. The spine is very supportive, so it's doing its job, but after a while it's just ready to surrender. So let your legs kind of sink into the earth. And with every exhale, let the spine just start to kind of ring out. And you might even think about your left side ribs just gently descending back toward the floor. Try to release any resistance that's happening between your legs, your right and left leg. Let them just kind of merge together. And any resistance that's happening between your body against the floor, just let your body merge with the floor. And again, over time, you'll notice just kind of an evolution of the pose. Those resistances start to fall away. The body starts to become more supple, more open, more expansive. We'll be here just 3 more breaths. And the breath is always a tool to train yourself to stay present. So if you do see the mind wandering, just watch how the breath breathes by itself. We don't have to will that to happen. So you're going to start to move back to center. Be very gentle and slow. And when you get back onto your back, you're going to take a moment to lift your hips, elongate the spine, and try to place the buttocks as far from the shoulder line as you can. Sweep the arms out to each side again. Cross the right leg over the left. And then tuck your left hip under you and try to roll the right hip above the left so that your legs just fall gently to the left. And you can prop the legs. If you're feeling kind of like you're hovering in space and having to hold your legs there, prop underneath your legs so that you can rest the legs, because that's really the golden ticket for the spine. If the legs aren't surrendered, the spine won't be either. The spine will do its job stabilizing. And then the cervical spine rotates last, so you can start to look toward the ceiling and eventually toward the right arm. Remember to use your left hand to hold the legs where they've arrived so that your legs feel more secure. And if you have any discomfort in your right shoulder, just drape the right hand over your side waist until the arm is ready to extend out. And observe the body breathing by itself. Observe those resistances, even as small as they might be. The body against the floor, the legs where they meet. Maybe your jaw is clamped. And if the mind wanders, catch it. If you can, notice, you could categorize the thought. Oh, this is planning. This is worry. This is daydreaming. And then just bring yourself back. Be in your body, be in your breath. Good. Now start to gently shift your legs out of the position, shift your back so it's flat against the floor again. And just take a moment to hug the legs into the body. You can grab behind the thighs, over the shins. You might circle your knees to massage your lower back. So always kind of doing the needful in the body. And maybe if you're circling the knees, just take a moment to switch direction. And then you're going to help yourself to your side. And we're going to be setting up for reclining bound angle pose. Some of you have bolsters at home. This is a great pose to use your bolster for, with the bolster running with the spine, so vertically with the spine. If you don't have a bolster, you could roll a blanket if you want to have a little bit of the opening of the chest, which is really the function of the bolster. And then you can also additionally add some height for the head, because we like to see the chin tilted toward the chest rather than away from the chest. And for most of us, we're all used to sleeping with pillows, most of us are. So we need a little support under the head to tip the chin down. So we have done some work with the groins already this morning, but you still might be needing some propping. So I use blocks in the event that I run out of my softer props, but if you have ample blankets, I prefer blankets because they're forgiving, and as the body opens, the blankets squish down and you can keep opening. The blocks aren't as friendly that way, so you might have to adjust your blocks to keep the body in an opening state. So we're going to have the butt pulled away from what's called a pranayama pillow, which just means it's opening the chest. So you're going to have your butt kind of pulled away from that so that the soft prop hits you right where the rib cage starts and not really under that line. So that kind of the kidney region, the lumbar spine is free and clear of propping. And then the head is supported in a way that, again, chin tilts down. Arms are going to unfold so that you're resting on the backs of your hands. And we don't want to over support the legs. So just finding that sweet spot where your groins are opening, your hips are opening, but you're not gripping because you're not overdoing. So we want to have the opening, but the support same time. And of course, adjusting the props as needed. Close your eyes. Again, if it keeps you present, if it takes you out of the experience to close your eyes, keep your gaze soft, eyes open. And just trust that you've set this up and you can let that piece go. And now just let the pose work on you. Observing the breath. Observing your own resistance, your own kind of resisting against the pose that might occur initially. The shoulders might still be somewhat rounded. The chest might feel tight across. Your jaw might be clamped in a way that kind of keeps you a little bit rigid. This is a great pose to bring attention into the abdomen where we carry a lot of tension. And maybe with a few breaths, just enjoying a little bit more movement in the belly. This is a great pose to explore a deepening exhale because we have gravity helping us sink the belly toward the floor as we breathe out. So you can kind of take that experience a little bit deeper. Where's the mind? When the mouth and jaw is relaxed, you kind of sense that you're smiling a little bit. Sometimes you see images of practitioners and it looks like they're actively smiling, but it's more of a passive thing. The smile comes when we let go of the kind of the natural gripping in the skull and the jaw, inside the mouth. So feel a sense of spaciousness inside of your mouth. Just 2 more breaths here. Now just start to use your fingertips to join the knees. And once you've joined the knees, widen your feet. Let the knees angle toward each other or even touch. Put your hands on your belly and just take a couple moments in a counter pose, just to kind of relieve the body of the bound angle pose, kind of put us back in a neutral setting. Take a few moments there to equalize. And we're going to set up now for a gentle back bend cross bolsters is the name, but we're going to make it user-friendly at home. So roll off to your side. And hopefully you have a couple of blankets. And if you have a bolster, you can work with that. What you're going to do is set up either 2 blankets or a bolster and a blanket to make an X shape on your mat, with the top part of the X being the vertical piece that's going to run along with the spine. And if your back is kind of tight and feeling like less is more today, even if you have a bolster at home, you might do better with 2 blankets just because it will be a deeper experience if you build that height up with a bolster. So do the needful. And also if you have something, this isn't necessary, but I like to put just a blanket down for my head and shoulders, but the mat will be just fine if you don't have that many blankets. So we have this X shape on the mat. The top one is running with the spine, it's going to be vertical. And then if you have additional blanket for the head and shoulders, you can do that. And you're just going to kind of sit on that perch that you've created, right at the crux of it, and help yourself down so that your shoulders and head come down. And then extend your legs. And for those of you that find this really intense, you'll keep your knees bent until the body is ready to extend the legs. Try to tuck the outer upper arms kind of down to the floor, lift the shoulder blades into the chest, Be on the backs of your hands, which supports the action of shoulder blades inserting towards the chest. And rock your head until your chin and chest are very close together. Another way you can think about it is the neck really closes towards the floor. Again, extend your legs if you're able to do that now, otherwise you might do it later. And be on your heels with your toes pointing up. Look toward your cheeks. This is a bigger pose, it's higher octane, so just notice the initial response in the body. And as yogis, we have to discern, do I need to make a change, or is this something I can wait through and it's going to soften? That's not something I can tell you. So the body might be asking for an adjustment, or you might be able to kind of endure and watch it kind of melt away. There's a difference. If you've been here some time now and the mind is still kind of scrambling and trying to escape, that's probably a clue to adjust. We'll be here another half a minute. Just do a body scan and see where there's stuck areas. Iyengar called these places of a closed fist. There is some contraction to keep those feet where they are. That's required effort, but where is there effort where it doesn't need to be? The jaw and forehead certainly don't need to be in effort. If you did extend the legs, it looks like most of us have, start to bend your knees. And you're going to scoot towards your head side until your hips and sacrum come down flat. And then you're going to rest your legs on the elevation. So cross your legs or take bound angle if you're able to. And unfold your arms. Just spend a couple moments there. Again, a little bit of a counter pose. And then you're going to be transitioning to Viparita Karani. This is legs up the wall pose, but not all of us have walls at home. So we're going to find ways to make this work for everybody. So help your knees together, help yourself to one side. Help yourself come up. If you don't have a wall that's within your practice area, then you're going to use a chair seat. Hopefully you have a chair. And you can rest the lower legs on the chair. If you do have a wall, you could put your blanket or bolster near the wall. I like to put a block worth of space between my wall and my bolster or blanket. But you're going to put your legs up the wall. So I'll show you that one. If you're using a chair, that's more kind of self-explanatory. You're just going to rest your lower legs on the chair with a thin blanket under your sacrum. So you can't really see my wall super well because I'm going to have the bolster in front of it, but I'm putting a block down first, kind of as a spacer. And then I'm putting the bolster right in front of that. So it's wall, block, bolster. And this bolster could be a blanket if you don't have bolsters at home. And then you can scoot your one hip to the wall. Swing your legs up as you put the torso kind of towards the floor. And elevate the legs. And the idea is to get the butt close to the wall. But that for some of us is we have to keep some distance. So you have to determine what your body needs and what you're able to do. And then you'll unfold your arms like Shavasana so that you have no skin of your arms touching your torso. And if you're cold, make sure to just cover up. We'll be here a couple of minutes. Rocking your head to adjust the neck down and the chin toward the chest. You shouldn't have to exert any effort at this point. This is an inversion, and we get a lot of benefits from inversions. The heart is supported, the brain is supported. We release fatigue in the legs, circulation improves. This is cleansing for the lymph system, lymphatic system. It's really good for mental health when we're feeling stuck or depressive or inert, to literally turn things on their head, to kind of help us shift perspective. Just enjoy passivity. See if you can let resistance, contraction, squeezing against, let all of that go. Just a couple more breaths. If you're on the chair, you can just kind of bring your feet down at this point. If you're on the wall, bend your knees. And now we're going to move to our sides to help exit. And you're going to be setting up for Shavasana, but it's Yoga Nidra practice all week. That's, you can think about it like a long Shavasana, 15-minute Shavasana. And so I like to recommend that you support behind the knees, because sustaining this position for that long can get uncomfortable. But knee support is really kind of a nice way to eliminate discomfort. So put a bolster or a rolled blanket behind your knees. Also, you're going to be here for some time, so you'll get cooler than you are now. So make sure to cover with a blanket or additional clothing. And also, you could put something over your eyes if you find it difficult to keep your eyes closed without effort. And it doesn't have to be anything special. Some of us have eye pillows at home, but you could always just use a shirt sleeve, something that's not heavy, and something that's soft, not going to bother your eyes. And I always use a script for Yoga Nidra because it is such a specific practice. And it is a scientific practice that's very, very old. And it's kind of guiding us through the physical body point by point with awareness in a way that the outcome is that the nervous system really settles And we can tap into the subconscious mind, which is just a rich, fertile place to bring intention. So we border on sleep in this practice. Sometimes you do fall asleep. That's not the goal, but it might happen. And even if you do fall asleep, just know that you will get the benefit of this practice, which is deeply restorative to the brain. It's deeply quieting to the brain. And it can be, anecdotally, if you don't get a lot of sleep at night, it can make you feel as if you got 4 hours of sleep to do a 20-minute yoga nidra practice. So in short, it is to the body what sleep is to the brain. It's going to help you really come into a very peaceful, quiet place. So make yourself comfortable. The practice does start from Shavasana. So you're just going to take care of any final fidgeting or adjusting movement in your body. We really do want to attempt to be very still for this practice. That being said, if you get uncomfortable, make sure to adjust. But we're not trying to fidget. We're trying to keep ourselves still. So you're going to lie down on your back, support the knees, as if you're in Shavasana with the support under the knees. And just bring a feeling of inner relaxation to your entire body. Just do a complete body scan and send that global message of surrender, physical surrender. Develop an awareness of your body from top to bottom. Complete stillness in your body and complete awareness. Become aware of the fact that you're going to practice Yoga Nidra. The practice of Yoga Nidra begins now. At this moment, you should make a resolve. This is a very simple, succinct statement in positive, present tense language. Your heart's deepest longing, a wish for yourself, another, or the world at large. Take some time to develop a resolve to say mentally 3 times now. Saying it 3 times mentally with awareness, feeling, and emphasis. The resolve you make during Yoga Nidra is bound to come true in your life. And now let the resolve go. It's a seed that's been planted. We'll begin the rotation of consciousness, rotation of awareness by taking a trip through the different parts of the body. As quickly as possible, the awareness is to go from part to part. As I say the part, become aware of the part of the body. Keep yourself alert, but don't concentrate too intensely. Become aware of the right hand. Right hand thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, palm of the hand. Become aware of your palm, back of the hand, the wrist, the lower arm, the elbow, the upper arm, shoulder, the armpit, the right waist, the right hip, the right thigh, the kneecap, the calf muscle, the ankle, the heel, the sole of the right foot, top of the foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Become aware of the left hand thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, palm of the hand, back of the hand, the wrist, the lower arm, the elbow, the upper arm, shoulder, armpit, the left waist, the left hip, the left thigh, the kneecap, the calf muscle, the ankle, the heel, the sole of the foot, top of the foot, the big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Now to the back. Become aware of the right shoulder blade, the left shoulder blade, the right buttock, the left buttock, the spine, the whole back together. Now go to the top of the head, the forehead, both sides of the head, the right eyebrow, the left eyebrow, space between the eyebrows, right eyelid, right eye, left eye, right ear, left ear, the right cheek, the left cheek, the nose, tip of the nose, upper lip, lower lip, chin, throat, right chest, left chest, middle of the chest, navel, abdomen. The whole of the right leg, the whole of the left leg, both legs together, the whole of the right arm, the whole of the left arm, both arms together, the whole of the back, buttocks, spine, shoulder blades, the whole of the front, abdomen, chest, the whole of the back and front together, the whole of the head, the whole body together, the whole body together, the whole body together. Please do not sleep. Total awareness, no sleeping, no movement. The whole body on the floor. Become aware of your body lying on the floor. Your body is lying on the floor. See your body lying perfectly still on the floor in your room. Visualize this image in your mind. Become aware of your breath. Feel the flow of your breath in and out of your lungs. Do not try to change the rhythm. The breathing is natural, automatic. You're not doing it. There is no effort. Maintain awareness of your breath. Continue. Complete awareness of breath. Concentrate on your navel movements. Movement around the navel area. Your navel is rising and falling slightly with every breath. With each and every breath, it expands and contracts. Counting back from the number 5 with each breath. Inhale 5, exhale 5. Keeping awareness on the navel area. Inhale 4, exhale 4. Continuing until you reach the number 0. And now leave the counts Bring your attention to the chest. Please shift your attention to the chest. Your chest is rising and falling slightly with each and every breath. Become aware of this. Continue concentrating on the movement of the chest and start counting backwards from 5. Inhaling 5, exhaling 5. Inhaling 4, exhaling 4. Chest rising, chest falling. Repeating the words and numbers mentally to yourself as you count. No mistakes. If you make a mistake, go back and start again, starting at 5. And now cease your counting of the chest breaths and move your awareness to the throat. Please move to the throat. Become aware of your breath moving in and out of the throat. Concentrate on the movement of the breath and start counting backwards from 5 to 0 in the same way as before. Complete awareness of counting and the breath. Keep on with this practice. Continue counting your breaths in the throat. And again, leave the counts and go now to the nostrils. Become aware of the breath moving in and out of the nostrils. Concentrate on the movement of the breath in and out of the nostrils. And start counting as before. You know it very well by now. 5, breathing in. 5, breathing out. Complete awareness, please. Continue counting, no mistakes. Keep on with the practice, continue. And now stop your counting and leave the breathing. We'll come to a visualization. A number of different things will be named, and you should try to develop a vision of them on all levels. Feeling, awareness, emotion, imagination, as best you can. Burning candle. Endless desert. Torrential rain. Snow-capped mountains. Birds flying across the sunset. Red clouds drifting. Stars at night. Full moon. Wind from the sea. Waves breaking on a deserted beach. The restless sea. Eternal restless sea. Waves breaking on a deserted beach. Now it's time to repeat your resolve. Repeat the same resolve you made at the beginning of the practice. Do not change it. Repeat the resolve 3 times with full awareness and feeling. Relax all efforts. Draw your mind outside and become aware of your breathing. Become aware of the natural breath. Awareness of the whole body and awareness of breathing. Your body is lying totally relaxed on the floor. You're breathing quietly and slowly. Develop awareness of your body from the top of the head to the tips of the toes. Become aware of the floor and the position of your body lying on the floor. Visualize the room around you. And start moving your body and stretching yourself, taking your time. Do not hurry. And when you're sure that you're wide awake, move to your side slowly and open your eyes. The practice of Yoga Nidra is now complete. Find your way to seated. And when you arrive to seated, fold your hands together in front of your heart. Just take a couple moments to sit quietly, acknowledging the effects of your practice. May the benefits of this practice be shared with others. Let's take a deep breath in and let it go. In the place within me that I know to be divine, I honor that place within each of you. Namaste. All right. Thank you all for joining me this morning. And a very happy birthday to my dear friend Megan. I'm next. And I'll see you guys, some of you Wednesday and some of you Friday again, I hope. So take good care and be well. Mwah.